Every night, after reporting on the shooting, terrorist attack, and natural disasters, the news would list the number of people hospitalized because they had run into walls, fallen downstairs, or got hit by cars while chasing down these imaginary creatures. An excerpt from page 39 of e-Pocalypse, The Digital Dystopia Is Coming by Steve Bellinger. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the review of e-Pocalypse, The Digital Dystopia Is Coming by Steve Bellinger. This is one of those amazing science fiction novels that I've ever read. You know, I've been a fan of Steve Bellinger's writing for some times now after discovering its first work, The Chronicle and About Adventure in Time, and also after reading its book, Edge of Perception, a paranormal science fiction love story. And now I'm picking up e-Pocalypse, The Digital Dystopia Is Coming. I can say that I love his storytelling techniques. I can say that he is a fantastic science fiction writer. And I can say that I love his use of word. I love his storytelling techniques. They are somewhat scenic in nature. They're somewhat, they read like a movie. And in my own perception, I've always said that these sort of books will fit into movie production. And I am so engrossed with this book while I pick it up. It's one of those fantastic science fiction novels I've ever read. And again, I love to say that it delves into the matter of digital. We live in a kind of a digital world whereby we have everything controlled, we have everything programmed. And it is just so enthralling that I actually find it quite amazing. And I couldn't drop it until I finished reading through the book. My review of this book is actually going to be a spoiler-free. I won't be talking too much about the book. I just want to give you a short video book recommendation for you to have an idea of what Steve Bellinger has had to communicate in this fantastic digital tech-like sort of novel. So before I move into my review, I'd love to read to you an description at the back page of the book, which I consider the synopsis of the book. E-Pocalypse, The Digital Dystopia Is Coming. Matty Williams' retirement as a computer tech goes awry when he and his girlfriend Diva discover that new social technologies are subtly affecting the mind of their users. As they delve deeper into the technological marvels revolutionizing the lives of virtually everyone on the planet, they are set on a course that leads directly back to the employer, Rodon Technologies. Now, there is the largest gadget, augmented reality glasses known as OGs, that can literally recreate reality for the users, all controlled by the ruthlessly efficient global computer system with the deceptively reassuring name of Nana. Will Matty, Divi, and their super geek friend Howard save humanity from a life of program subservience, or will they attempt to thwart Nana result in something even worse? And that's something I find quite exceptional about the book. That's something that I find quite intriguing about the book, and which is the fact whereby these people actually created this OGs in order to control people. They actually created this OG in order to have the mind of people processed in a kind of a way whereby they can easily manipulate it. And the people, or let me say the population, actually have no idea of what was going on. Whenever they put it on, everything seems normal. And whenever they remove it, they kind of get distracted. So this has been going on, and it's more or less like a sort of a law that is imposed on the resident, and it's just so enthralling that I actually found the book very amazing. I find it somewhat relating to the act of the end time. Don't get me wrong about that anyway. Like I stated in my written review, I found it like it's something that is rapture-like, and it's like a chronicle of a world that is being controlled with technology. And just like we see in our contemporary world today, just like you see in a world today whereby whenever you're going on the street side, you find almost everybody engrossed with their phone, pressing the phone, and some wouldn't even be aware whenever a danger is imminent or coming. Take for instance, a young boy is walking by the roadside and he's busy engrossed with his phone and he had no idea that a car is actually coming to eat him. I think that's one of the concepts that this book is trying to expound. That's one of the reality or one of the issue that the book as a subject or theme is trying to illustrate or explain. I can also feel that this book is actually gonna make a very good movie. Take for instance, it's been filmed and it's been transmitted into a screenplay. I'm very sure it's gonna be one of those best-selling movies. So permit me to give you a sneak into about the author before I move on in my review. Steve Bellinger fell in love with science fiction with a Foxton Swift book that he read as a child. When his mom, who worked for a printing company, brought home an Isaac Asimov novel, he was blown away by it and at the tender age of 13 decided he wanted to write, creating homemade comic books and handwritten manuscript in wire-bound notebook. As a young adult, he found he just couldn't get his stories published anywhere. So he combined two of his passion, writing and radio, and created several original radio drama, producing them in its own homemade recording studio. Through the years, he's written content for website, articles for local newspaper, and even the junior high school booklet for the EMA church. But it wasn't until 1865 that he realized his dream of having a science fiction novel published, The Chronicle, which I actually reviewed some months ago. So this book actually details the life of the protagonist, Matty Williams, who seemed to be somewhat surprised by the way with which technology is being received by the people of the world, who seems to be a little bit shocked, who seem to be a little bit, skeptical and somewhat doubtful with the way with which technology is being perceived by the young people or by the world generally. His first experience actually started with his grandson, Daniel, who loves playing game almost every time. Daniel is almost engrossed with his phone. Whenever they are together, I can remember he loved playing the head nod game, whereby he'll be looking for something and at a particular time he even got shot while he was looking for nod head in the street. So all of this actually had Matty quite surprising, because it was quite shocked with the way whereby technology is going, even though he actually worked for one of the biggest tech companies in the town, Rodon Technologies. Starting from the initial stage, his grandson Daniel would show him that okay, here's a profile, you can create a profile, and sometimes he would see how his information come out on the phone and he'd be like, and I think there are many Matty in the world. To cut the long story short, the story kept unfolding and it was actually unfolding in a dynamic manner. Now, I need to come back to the transition whereby a car was actually built. This is a car that can drive itself. It's called a self-driving car, whereby you don't need a driver to drive it. You just have to sit down and press a destination. You can actually use a voice control, VC, for the programming, and it will take you to anywhere you want to go. So at this particular time, they had a kind of a funny experience with the car. The car actually walked at the initial stage. Whenever I come across a traffic or come across a car coming, it would automatically stop and allow the car or whoever is coming to pass. The car is inbuilt in a sense whereby it's able to denote and recognize traffic light. It's able to realize if a kid or anybody is by the roadside, it would stop and allow such person to clear off before it move on. And at the initial stage, everything seems very nice. Everything seems very ongoing. Everything seems less problematic, but it got to a point whereby while they were driving together with his girlfriend, Diva, and Howard, it got to the point whereby the car started misbehaving and it was overspeeding. And Matty was like, what is happening? He called his friend and asked, what is happening? But he could see that Howard was busy pressing the keyboard, trying to make everything resort back to normal. So after the whole conversation, they all got to where they're going to and they stopped. And he was like, what has gone wrong with that car? What happened to it? So to move into another transition, the most enthralling part to me was a section whereby this self-driving car hit a man called Mark Wilson. And while Davey and Marty was like asking it, why did you kill that man? The car is actually programmed and it will say all system functioning normal. And I was like, what kind of system is functioning normal? But you killed someone. So actually the car had no idea that it killed someone, because it's actually being controlled by the Nana society. It's being controlled by some sort of silly technological operator. And one of the conversations that exists between Davey and Marty was that Davey said it probably have no idea that it killed someone. Then later on, they got to know that it killed the man in order to save the government from $4 million thereabout. But I'd love to say that there's a sort of a transition here, because there's a character in the novel that I love so much. He's a gentleman. His name is Howard. He had started building a sort of a program in order to stop this Nana invasion, in order to stop this weird act of this computer system. And I think once Nana detects that someone is trying to work against its own law and rule, it killed Howard. At first, some people or something broke into his lab and empty all the computers he got there. Then later on, it was found dead inside a car somewhere by the seaside. Getting to know about the death of Howard was somewhat very annoying to me, and I was like, why will he die at this point? And again, I got to realize that the same programming that killed Mark Wilson, it's the same thing that killed Howard. And that same programming inside this Nana controlled system was working at killing Marty. Because Marty gave himself a vow. He's one of the closest friends to Howard, and he discovered that it was at the point of creating a virus to stop the Super K and the Fibonacci effect. So Marty took it up upon himself that he's gonna continue from where Howard stopped. So he was able to successfully install this program. And there's a particular day whereby he was going to get something for his grandson down there in the street side. While he was about entering the supermarket, he could see that a car was speeding from a very far distance, coming to come and attack him. And he quickly realized that this car is coming to eat him. So he quickly ran into the supermarket. And he gets to know from there that this car is after him. Most of the technology there are being controlled by the Rodney technology. And there's another sort of a programmer called Nana who is in control of this app, of this programming. I think it's a programming. It's something that is deep into computer technology and all of that. And that's one of the reasons we actually found the book quite interesting. So he got to realize that Marty was trying to work evil towards the operation of Nana. Not really evil, but Marty was actually trying to protect humanity, because he noticed the sort of effect that this Fibonacci stuff and this Oogie stuff is gonna have on the people. And so he's trying to avoid it. Because whenever I put on the Auger thing, everything will look normal. But whenever I remove it, it will be able to see into the actual thing. And he was able to denote that these people were being manipulated. So Marty was actually in the supermarket, and those cars were waiting for him outside. The car, there's nobody driving them. They are operating on a sort of a self-programming, and it has realized that Marty has installed something that would stop the operation. And so it has decided that it's gonna kill Marty today. So Marty would try again to come out, and whenever he tried coming out again, he would realize that the engine car of a particular car or truck close to him started boosting up, and again it will run inside. So this self-controlled car were actually against him. They want to kill him, and they were able to actually recognize him based on his phone, because he has his phone in his pocket. This particular scenario actually reads like a movie, and I so much admired the expert, because he got to a point where the cop, the policeman, actually arrived here. They were trying to locate him. So there's actually a name that they called Marty, and Marty was like, I don't bear this name, this is not me. So I think there's a kind of a mix-up over here, whereby it's been recognized as Mark Gilly, and Marty was like, he's not Matt Gilly. Why are they after him? Why is the system recognizing him as Matt Gilly? He have no idea who is called Matt Gilly, and he have no idea why he should respond to the call. So he got to realize that they were actually tracking him, or they were able to track him because of his phone in his pocket. Because anything technology, like I said earlier on, it's been controlled by Rodent Technologies and again Nana. So he had to switch off his phone. So while he switched off his phone, they were actually still pursuing him. But once his phone was switched off, they couldn't get to know that this is Marty. So Marty quickly sneaked out. He was able to escape at that day. So once he gets home, he narrated the whole experience to Dana and Divi, and they were actually shocked that, wow, you experienced all this. That is not the end of everything. Daniel was supposed to go for a science exhibition, and I love what really happened in the science exhibition. Marty was able to meet a boy, another boy, who proposed or who realized that they were being manipulated by this orgy of a thing. Everybody driving must put on the orgy. Everybody going to anywhere must put on the orgy. And whatsoever bad thing that's happening in the society, they couldn't see it. They are just being controlled by this tech sort kind of reality, and everything seems real to them, but they had no idea that they were being manipulated. Another funny thing that I actually find quite enthralling was the part whereby when Marty was actually walking, he was going on the street side without his orgy, and was able to say that the traffic light is not functioning. So once the policeman, he was trying to correct it, he was trying to make it right, but the policeman came and met him over there and said, what is happening? You're trying to spoil the traffic light. Don't you know that what you're doing can actually cause an accident? And he was like, oh no, the traffic light is not functioning properly, and I'm trying to make it work. So the policeman said, but everything actually seems nice to me. Do you have your Ogi there? Could you please put it on? So when Marty put it on, everything seemed normal. But when he removed it, he realized that it's not actually normal. So he was able to realize that all of this thing is actually wrong. And the Ogi of a thing, according to me, or according to the tone of the book, is a sort of a wearing that is actually legal, that is, government approved. And again, I need to mention this, that one of the member of the Rodent Technology was like, he's gonna be the CEO of probably, I think, America or the country as proposed to be the location of the actual event. I don't know if it's America. The book is actually quite extensive. It's very vast. It is extensive. But I love to say that I don't want to spoil the book. I don't want to talk about everything in entirety. Just want to give a short video book review for you to have an idea of what is contained in e-Pocalypse, the Digital Dystopia Is Coming. But I'd love to say that the book actually read interestingly. I love the description of the fact whereby it got to a point whereby Marty was able to install this app on the Rodent computer. And again, before that, he met with Rodent and he logged in from his phone and enter his own login details. So when Rodent was about going out, the coup arrested him and they recognized him as McGilly again, and they had to shoot him. So that's how he died. But again, there's another man in the room, which is actually Rodent's father. Well, this part is not well deep explained to me very well that I can actually denote if it's actually Rodent's father. And again, the person has been recognized as Rodent's father is not really in support of the technology advancement of a thing. And in my perception, I think this technological build-up by Nana and Rodent is actually a means to harm people. So it got to the point whereby Divi and Marty were trying to make everything work together. So Marty brought up something that looks like a pen. He did some sort of installation on the computer, and everything turned even worse. Moving train began to run into each other because everything is actually tech controlled. Plane began to fall from the sky, and cars begin to run into each other, and most people died because they are being controlled by this tech. They are actually where everybody is putting on the Oogie stuff, and most planes are self-controlled. Most cars are self-driven. Most trains are you don't need You don't need a driver, you don't need a pilot. They are being controlled by the technological stuff, and they've been using it to transport people from one place to the other. But Marty was trying to just make everything right, go back to normal, trying to remove this sort of a evil manipulation from the heart of people because they actually think that it's real. And this actually explains how technology is grabbing people's mind. This explains how technology is changing everything, changing the world. And I love to say that I love the scenario of this event whereby cars were running into each other, airplanes are falling from the sky, and a lot of people begin to behave weirdly. Like a lot of people begin to scream, some people fell down, as in everything was just in a state of chaos. And that's one of the reasons why I actually love this part, and I term it that it is rapture-like, the chronicle of a world that is controlled by technology. Again, I'd love to say that I love the instance. Matt is someone who is very intelligent, and as such, Divya also, his girlfriend, is actually someone who is very intelligent. I love the part whereby they were coming to come and address him in his house, and he just flung his phone, put it inside a pillow, and threw it over through the window side, and the thing landed on the trunk. And the policeman, who is actually downstairs, still trying to search Davy's house for Marty, got another call, and they could realize that, Marty Williams is on the run. They left, and they had no idea that Marty is actually in the house, but he threw his phone, on his phone, threw it in a way whereby the GPS or whatsoever will realize that Marty is moving, it's on the run. And the thing is actually, the whole story is actually tech-wise. The whole story is actually very deep, it's extensive, and you have to read it slowly in order to understand what Steve Bellinger has to communicate in this fantastic science fiction novel. I wouldn't love to talk about everything entirely. I don't want to spoil it, and I just want to give a short video book recommendation for you to have an idea of what Steve Bellinger has had to communicate in its fantastic book, Apocalypse. The Digital Dystopia Is Coming. So if you'd like to get a copy of this book, I left a link in the description part of this video for you to get a copy directly on Amazon. And it's actually very wonderful. It's just like the other novels I've read from the same author, The Chronicle and Urban Adventure in Time. Edge of Perception, a paranormal science fiction love story. And now, Apocalypse, the Digital Dystopia Is Coming. And I'm looking forward to reading Time Wait for No Man by the same author. So if you watch this video to this point and you're yet to click on the subscribe button, I want to urge you to please click on the subscribe button over there. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you can get notified anytime I release new videos. Thank you very much for watching my short video book recommendation of Apocalypse, the Digital Dystopia Is Coming. Thank you very much, and see you in my next video. Goodbye.